there, good people. Welcome to 360 Africa, reaching you from Afro Vibes TV and radio station. This is the very first edition of 360 Africa, and you don't want to miss every bit of it. I am Chris Adeni, better known as DJ X to the Max, and I got two legends with me in the studio as well. I got my radio colleague, I call him the DJ with the gray
Oh
and a lot
Lord.
of grace.
You can say that again.
BC Adebola Sugar Ray is in the building. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty well.
All right.
Like you said, this is the Afro Vibes Radio and TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to be doing what we've known to know how to do best after
Absolutely,
like
absolutely.
almost 2 decades now, right?
Yeah. For me, it's been like 28 years.
I think probably the same years too.
Right.
For me, yeah.
Right.
Right when we left secondary school, they call it high school here.
Mm-hmm.
We dabbled into music, DJing,
Mm-hmm.
and ever since that time, that's what we know how to do best.
Absolutely.
Good to see you again, my brother.
Good to see you too, bro.
Uh-huh.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Africa's number one DJ. You all know him. I call him the coolest DJ on earth.
Oh Lord.
Cool DJ Jimmy Jatt is here. my
I
brother.
How you guys
Can we have a
doing?
round of applause for him?
Wow, come on.
The only DJ with the
Oh, come on.
Jimmy.
You guys
Jimmy
making me blush
Jatt.
now.
No,
come on.
you got all the
All
accolades,
right.
my brother.
I'm really excited to be here with you guys and to be doing this. I think this is long overdue.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We need to, get our stories across.
Mhm.
And 360 Africa is not is like long overdue. Like I said,
Right.
absolutely
Correct,
necessary.
correct.
So what this is going to be is definitely going to be a platform where all the stories will be told, all the African stories,
Mhm.
entertainment, sports, whatever we want to, it would definitely come to
All
you,
the spectrum of
you know,
entertainment.
yeah. So,
Yes.
Mhm.
like Xmas said, is the first episode,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be exciting. We promise you that, So yeah,
Yeah, and just
Absolutely.
to chip that in, at intervals, we bring some new artists, we bring old artists, we bring some movie stars. It's
Yep.
going to be entertainment all
Oh, the-
in one, making it
Right.
360.
Mhm.
And people they've been asking us, Xmas, Sugar Ray, Jimmy Jatt, you guys leave here. When are you going back to entertainment, radio, TV? And we said, hey, wait a while, and the time is here.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's keep the ball rolling.
definitely.
All right. I think first of all, let's talk about how everything got started. Now, we're going to be talking more about Afrobeats today because that's the rave of the moment.
Mhm.
Correct.
But and you, DJ Jimmy Jatt, I know you have literally worked with every artist in the music industry, like the number ones in the Afrobeats, from Davido to Wizkid to Burna Boy, Olamide, Two Face, everybody.
Even the ladies, just to chip in, Chemistry, Kel, those lady rappers, those is Bookie,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to ask, what has been your experience working with all these great artists, and what would you say about the growth of Afrobeat recently?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to take you back a bit. First of all, I
Okay.
got into DJing.
Back to the memory lane.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I got into DJing from being an aspiring artist.
Okay.
Trying to make record. I had quite a number of demo recordings then.
Mhm.
Never got them.
By the way, before you started, the
Yeah.
first time I saw DJ Jimmy Jatt was in 1992. Okay, and he's still waxing stronger. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So the fact that I got into entertainment from being an upcoming artist
Right.
and then eventually settling into DJing,
Hmm.
even when I got into DJing and I became a bit prominent.
Right. Like a brand name.
Yeah, my mindset was, trying to go back to what I was trying to do, create platforms that were not existing
Mhm.
for me to enable me to be the artist that I wanted to be.
Mm.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So when
Absolutely.
I started DJing after a few years and I felt like I had quite an amount of popularity,
Right.
I started doing I started creating platform where young talents or young aspiring artists could leverage on to move to the next level.
Right.
So I had started events like the Roadblock in
Oh
Balenia at
yeah.
that
Oh
time.
yeah. I
We
remember that.
started the one we were talking about in the car. What's it called? Wrap
The one
up
on
and
Clapperboard.
Clapperboard. We can
Clapperboard
rap.
TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was in the early
yeah,
90s.
Early
exactly.
nineties.
Very
Yes.
early
Yes. Yes.
90s.
Yes. Yes.
So um, those platforms, a lot of young talent came off those.
Came on board.
Came
Yeah.
off those.
Mhm.
If you look back as far as the early 90s, you probably want to point at Junior and Pretty, Daddy Fresh, Daddy
Yeah, Felix and
Shoki.
Moses and
Not really. Those ones were I never they
work
were
with them.
never part of my. But we had a lot of like the Defo clans, all the Festac boys,
Right.
LD,
Mhm.
a lot of them,
Right,
and sometimes I don't. And there was this group at that
Even
time
Two
as
Face
well.
was on board that
Even
time
Two
too.
Face as well.
Right.
Yeah, a
Right.
lot of them. So that's what that was about.
Mhm.
And for me, I felt like that was what led to where we are today in terms of embracing our music. Because then the problem was the society in terms of our country as a whole
Right.
wasn't very friendly to things that were Nigerians.
Mm.
So at that time, it was, if you're doing anything Nigerian, they think it's local.
It was frowned at.
It was frowned at,
More
even
like
as a
a
DJ.
Tell me
substandard.
about
Yeah.
it. Even as a radio presenter,
Yeah, even as a Nigerian.
you got to play more
Of American music than
American
Nigerian
music
You can't
than
even play.
Nigerian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't even play.
It was a
Nigerian
tradition.
music. Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
So we felt like maybe we can change that narrative at the
Right.
time.
Right.
So we were finding ways to mix what was accepted
Mhm.
or what was acceptable at the time with what we do.
Right.
So you find a way where people like rap music, they like hip hop and all that, they like R&B, but they were not accepting any of those form of music being done by
Indigenous
Nigerian.
artists.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So we just felt like, and then when you try to do it the way that every other person was doing it,
Mhm.
then you're referred to as wannabes.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you're a clone version or copy or
Correct.
what you call on the street photocopy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and talking about that, I
you're
think
not
I
the
remember
original.
those days. Artists come to you, they'll pick an instrumental,
Yeah.
and
that-
you
those were
you
what-
buy a lot of
yeah,
records that time.
Yeah.
He's gonna come with a cappella instrumental,
Yeah.
and this guy will feel like, let me just put my own lyrics on this instrumental.
Exactly.
I want this instrumental by MC Light, this one by Dr. Dre, and they lay it on it, and it becomes something everybody wants to listen to.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Right.
So, but at that time, you just felt like, okay, there must be a way around it.
Mhm.
So that's when we started experimenting with maybe the kind of sound that you eventually got from, I would say, from Junior and Pretty, of course,
Yeah.
made popular by Remedies eventually,
Right.
and
Right.
then Tribesmen all the way.
Right.
So
I think
you
Junior and Pretty actually started
yeah,
the movement.
no doubt, without a
Yeah,
doubt. As
they
far as
started
I'm
the movement,
concerned,
right.
So when you look at that, you see so the sound was okay. Let's try and find a way to make this beat indigenous, and
Right.
then maybe you can rap on it.
Mhm.
But it's still that it doesn't sound like what you get from elsewhere. You
Right.
understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Or maybe we can use this beat, which is hip hop beat or R&B beat,
Yeah,
Right.
but you rap in pidgin or you rap
or
in
infuse some
vernacular.
other things into
Mhm.
it.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
you start getting a lot of pidgin rappers,
Absolutely.
rappers rapping in vernacular, Yoruba, mostly Yoruba, and then you have, some Igbo rappers as well,
Right. Right.
So, but eventually all that translates into, gradually it was a progression, and then it translated into
right.
what we now refer to as Afrobeat.
It was like a process.
It was a process, a long process.
Right.
So what existed in the early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. So predominantly, I think by the late 90s was when the formula was now almost solidified. Like,
Right.
okay, this is the direction that we need to go. So you will notice that a lot of late 90s releases, like 1999, early 2000, where, songs when you go back now were the ones that were the foundation
Right.
of today's Afrobeat.
Afrobeat.
You understand what I'm saying? But the whole experiment started from the early 90s, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
from the
Just to
beginning.
buttress that point, I think I started on the radio
Yeah.
before I even became a DJing on the street and on the turntable. And I remember when Remedies, the group was formed,
Yeah.
and I remember a producer said, "Okay, I think these guys are so good." They met them at the party
Yeah.
or at a show, and they first sampled MC Light's
Yeah.
"Keep on Keeping On."
So that now explains what I was
Exactly.
talking about.
Yeah.
So
People now
that's
felt
that,
people now felt like we can't just put these lyrics on this instrumental.
Yeah.
It's even more like a piracy. Somebody now said, you know one thing, let's put some drum on this thing,
yeah.
some percussion, and before you know it, and people were now used to the fact that you rap in your local dialect.
Yes.
You know, you can speak some pidgin,
The
some
hook
Yoruba,
was,
some Hausa, and that time people were like kind of, and on radio that time, if you don't play that song like 6, 7, 8 times on rotation, the day was not,
talking about
was not
radio.
complete.
Yeah,
Right.
one thing I also will have to credit. I mean, even when we say a lot of not so great things about the government in Nigeria, one of the best things that happened in terms of Nigerian music was when private licenses were about to be issued. And
Absolutely.
there was a
You're
major
absolutely correct.
clause that says, man, you must play a certain high percentage of
local music,
content.
correct?
Yes.
Local
Because
content.
before then, the media wasn't touching the local song.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
remember.
So in
Oh, yeah.
terms of the songs getting across, it wasn't really getting across. You know?
Right.
So,
Correct.
but when that started, and it really started with Raypower or Dark Communication, I
Dark
say,
communication.
so you have to big up that whole concept from government to Dark Communication executing that,
Right.
because it was a lay down rule. You have to find
Yes.
that content and play
Yes.
this amount of local
music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then that communication, I guess they even took it beyond what was laid
Oh,
down,
yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
they just were looking for whatever is good. Anybody brings it, they get some
The
radio.
local talent.
Before then, it was the reverse. You take
Yeah.
anything you make locally to this radio station, you can't even get in.
Yo,
Yes.
you can't
You
get
understand what
it.
I'm
Even
saying,
you can't
you
even see the presenter
You can't,
because
you can't
you
get
might need
in,
to drop your CD
because even the
at the
presenter's
reception.
mindset is already to
Yeah.
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 so, and even us as DJs before then, except for people like me that got into DJing from being an aspiring artist,
Right.
a lot of DJs felt like, man, I beg, what's all this ras music?
Yeah.
Exactly. And at
yeah,
that
you
point in
understand what I'm
time,
saying?
at that
Yeah,
point in
American
time,
music.
if you're a presenter, you had
Yeah.
like 3 hours.
Yeah.
We felt so comfortable playing hip hop, Nas, Jay-Z for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the point in time, you now had to play some local songs. And that now brought me to the fact that you are a legend in this game. And talking about producers, those days, some producer like Nelson Brown, they had little to work with. You know, you have to work with what you had, analog, little, computerized equipment to work with. And I think at the point in time, they got better.
Right.
So if I may ask you now, Jimmy, looking at those days that we started, and now the difference, what would you say? Are we? I know people will say we're getting better, but people believe nowadays people are more laid back. Before you know it, you go to the studio between 30 minutes, you're done with an album. What do you think compared to those days and now?
I mean, I think now is better than then. To be honest with you, I'm not one of those people that will tell you, the old way is always better.
Yeah.
It was more hectic. It was more cumbersome. It was a lot more difficult. You
I think
understand what I'm saying?
technology.
Technology.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's always advancement in everything. So
That's right.
technology is helping out now. Unfortunately, technology also allows every Tom, Dick, and Harry to find their way into it. And
Right.
as such, you have
So,
a lot
so
of.
it's a blessing at a cost at the same
It's
time.
always a
Yeah.
blessing at the cost. So you find a lot of people that shouldn't even be
Being
there
the music industry.
in that space, getting in, and somehow they get in. Some do with due respect to them, they do what you probably regard as trash when you force it, but they have other means of pushing it, and then it gets across, and millions of
And making
people
it
are-
relevant.
Exactly.
and
I
millions of
remember
people
those
are-
days, like you
millions
said,
of people are loving it. So
Absolutely.
you
for
go
me-
through them to get some
exactly
promoted.
before your music even gets out,
Oh,
the
Lord.
process of making the music, you're in the studio with
A lot of artists.
a lot, not even artists, a lot of musicians,
Mhm.
because you need session men, you need everybody
Right.
to, so before it gets out, and it doesn't go out straight, it still has to go through a record label.
Mhm.
So there are lots of gates of people to vet that work. before it goes out.
Before it
And you have
goes
to go to
out.
the
Right
market
now, yes,
for you to make money.
before it gets out, before it gets to the level of marketing.
Mhm.
But right now, I mean, on my laptop, I can make a song,
A whole production.
a whole production. And
Yeah.
then if I'm getting eye on it, you get eye on your own stuff.
Mhm.
You can upload it immediately, and you
And
never
you-
can
Go
tell.
to Instagram, and before
Because
you know it,
you have the control.
And you don't even need any record
You don't
label
need nobody
to put it
so
out.
There's
you know.
nobody checking, nobody vetting, and
Right.
as such, sometimes, I mean, everything is allowed,
Right,
and
right.
if everything is allowed, there'll be a lot more.
Okay,
not so
okay.
great
This is
stuff.
getting more interesting, but
Yeah.
we're gonna take a break right now, and we'll be back after this.
Oh,
all
definitely.
right, definitely.
Welcome back to 360 Africa, and we're still here. Chris Adeni, DJ X Max, DJ Jimmy
Jimmy
Jatt.
Jatt.
And
Sugar
Sugar
Ray.
Ray. Yeah.
So back to the discussion. I think social media has also played a part.
A key role.
You said a kill?
A key role.
Oh, a key role. I
Yeah.
thought you said a kill. Yeah, social media has also played a part in what we're talking about. Like I said before, it's a blessing, it's a curse. Now it all depends on how you want to use it. You can use it to benefit you, and you can also use it to, destroy you.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's a lot of fake artists out there today.
Fake. I didn't say that.
Oh.
And I really don't think, I mean, it's always good to, the way I see music especially is the same way I look at you going into the store or going into a mall or something. Everything is displayed.
Okay,
You know,
gotcha.
It's for you
choose
to
the
say
one
this
you
is
want.
what I want to
Choose
buy,
what you
this
want.
is what I want.
Even with your
So
money.
if you feel like, oh, this is not great quality, but you have other people buying it. So it's the same thing with music. Everybody puts it out there. That's why I said the door is open, so everybody gets in. It's now for the people picking or buying to say, man,
To choose what quality
yeah,
they want.
and if more people are buying a lot of stuff that you consider not so great,
Mhm.
maybe it's just your own opinion.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think in terms of numbers, those days we have few. Now we have many people that sings now.
Yeah.
There are more musicians.
Yes.
But one thing about those days was that at least an average musician can kind of play an instrument.
There's a difference between musician and artist. I've
Artist
always felt
anyway.
like that.
Yeah. So, but now I think sometimes you just see people who just go behind the microphone, the beats, they have the money. You can even have the money to have an old studio. So you now go to the, before you know it, go behind the musical instrumental, lay some lyrics on it, throw it out there, Instagram, Facebook. Before you know it, it's popular. Unlike those days, like you said, is very key. You have to break through the radio station
Mhm.
because,
Record
and don't forget
labels-
too,
record-
those days when I was
record
when I was
labels
on radio,
vet your music
you have
too.
head of presentation. They will listen to that song. You can't just sing grandly, just be playing that song on your shift. People must admit that this song is good for the radio, and
Right.
there's what we call NTBB, not to be broadcast. So, but I think now anything goes. If you like the song, I don't care. I don't care who else likes it. You play it, parties, even
But
radio.
the funniest thing about that is even the music that you think is not gonna make it, sometimes end up being
You can say that
a
again.
monster hit.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to
You
say.
can say that again.
It's for you to pick what you want on the
Just
shelf.
pick what you
Yeah,
want.
you can
you
say
know?
that
So
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times music, like I get music submitted to me like ahead of release.
Mhm.
A lot of times, and then you're listening, you feel like I don't know if this song is that great. But the music comes out eventually officially released, and then it becomes like maybe chart topping.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that means maybe your judgment was not in line with
at
the
that time,
majority of people,
yes.
and it doesn't make the song, not great.
Mhm.
I don't even think there is any song that is not great. Let me tell you my own opinion. And I used to be very hard on all these things before. I used to feel like that song ain't nothing. This is not, But I realized that look, what is great music here might be not so great here, or
Yeah.
might not even be anything here. And when I say that,
One man's food is another man's poison.
exactly. So I'll give you an example. So there's a great gospel song, but it's great in the church.
Mhm.
Bring it to the club, nightclub, and say it's a great song.
Right.
That's like you. What the hell are you playing here? You know. And on the other hand, if you take one song that everybody
You like.
is vibing to in the club and take it to the church, it's whack. I mean, it's considered. You understand what I'm saying? You know.
yeah.
So I mean, it's what you're dealing with and where you, you know, if you're throwing the music in the wrong environment, it's not great music.
And
But
I
if
think I
you're
was talking
throwing
to
it in the
Chris
right place,
X-Man
yeah.
the other time. I said, as a DJ, when you think, oh, you've wowed everybody with this music on the dance floor, the celebrant will say, please change the song now. They
Yeah.
don't like that song.
Yeah.
And that brings the collabo aspect of it, because now you see that most of these Afro hip hop artists, they're doing collaboration with American artists. So imagine that means an American artist just feel like this song is good. I want to jump on this song because to him, I like this beat, I like these lyrics. I think I want to be part of this.
Well, on that one though, I just think that the origin of great music is just coming back. You understand?
You're right. Yes.
You understand? It's like a rotation. You understand? Like, music belongs to Africa. Let's be realistic. I mean, real music belongs to Africa. And now this is the time.
Anyway,
You
well,
wanna
I'll
disagree with
probably
that?
say if you say rhythm, yes.
Yeah, rhythm, yes.
But not music.
Not music generally.
Yeah.
Okay.
But rhythm, yes.
Okay.
You know, I think I remember when D'banj had his remix and Snoop featured on it. People were kind
With the collaborations, I mean, the way I see collaboration is people trying to tap into people's
markets.
So if you're an Afrobeat artist at the beginning, trying to cut across into probably the American market or the Western market, you need collaboration with the artists that were already big in that space. So that's where you find the band trying to collaborate with some,
American
maybe
artists.
Snoop and all that at that time.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And then now that a lot of people have realized that Africa is not just a country, it's a continent, and it's over 1 billion people in Africa. And these Afrobeat artists are big in Africa. You want to tap
Not
into
only
that
in
number.
Africa, all over the world.
No, first of all, for starters, I'm talking about not like right now, before Afrobeat became, globally accepted.
Yeah.
It was big in Africa.
Yes.
So you look and say, man, if I want to tap into this over 1 billion people,
I have to
I
break
might
it
as
up.
well, align with these people. And then you start finding collaborations in that direction. You understand what I'm saying? And then based on that, the size, the market expands.
Right.
You're trying to tap into African market. The Africans are trying to tap into the US and Western market. And then it becomes a global market, So everybody, so collaboration is very key in that area. It's not even about great music, because we've seen people feature on songs that what's that artist, what's that song, but you already seen the numbers that the guy is doing. And you know that, man, getting on this song will take you to that number of people.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's what leads to collaboration. Other times it could be based on the weight of the song, like, you appreciate the quality or the production or the lyrical content of the song. But I think most times it's just the commercial aspect of it that people are tapping into.
One other thing that worries me nowadays is, like, I think when we started those days, there were a lot of groups, both even locally and even internationally. But now, hardly can you even mention a group out there. Even I'm a Nigerian artist.
Yeah.
Like you can't see 2 or 3 people coming together as a group to sing. Everybody wants to do their own thing solo. And hardly even 2 artists that that they've made their names, even locally. You're here to see a collaboration, in between those ladies or guys. Do you think anything's responsible for that, or you just everybody feel like I want to do my own thing?
Anyway,
Personally, all I could say is ego. I just think it's ego.
Yeah.
Because
That's my own
without
opinion.
mentioning names, there are some artists that would love them to see this person featuring this person, and
Because it's not just
in terms of commercial, it's going to be mostly like a hit, but this person feels like, I don't want to go to Jim Jatt first. I don't want to go to Sugar Ray first. Let him come to me, that we should sing together. But I think at that point in this industry, if we stay if you're still at that point,
Mhm.
I think we're not moving forward.
And I just think, time has changed. I don't think groups really work like back in the days anymore.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I think it's a new thing. Everybody just wants.
So everybody just prefer to
Everybody
feature,
just want
just
to
be
do
to
their
feature
own thing.
somebody and just know
their
that
own
See,
way.
it's my
when
music.
before, I mean, so there were, for me, that we got to this point in terms of groups, there will be, I'll look at it from two different eras. First, there were a lot of groups before because in, to make a band, you need a guitarist, you need a drummer, you need a keyboardist, you need, so everybody
Needs to partake.
Everybody has a role.
has a role to play, and then you had the vocalist who is the lead person, or a couple of vocalists, and then it got to, okay, music became digital production,
Right.
so you really don't need those session men who were also part of the band at the time.
Who make up the group.
Yeah, to make up a
So
group.
just the vocalist.
So you just need the lead vocalist. But at some point, that didn't happen immediately. What then happened was, okay, so you still had maybe one or two, duo. I mean, like duo, just 2 people, 3 people. But they're not a complete band. They're just, okay, 3 people leading, lead vocalists,
Right.
But of course, it got to a point where, this guy feels like I do most of the singing, I do most of the writing of the songs, and we share money 3 ways. The guy feels like, man, I might as well do it solo. And sometimes, I mean, if you look at it in terms of business, what's the logic if I'm doing all the work and money goes 3 ways?
Why do I have to share my?
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Equally,
and then people would even offer you, some other record label will probably even
contract just for you to
throw it in your face and say, man,
your solo career.
We'll offer you a solo career. It happened a lot of times.
Yes.
And I think at some point on this show, we're going to be dropping names when we talk.
Oh, definitely.
For now, I mean, because we're still trying to welcome people, let's not be too controversial.
Yeah,
we'll get to those points.
Yeah.
And then, because really off the top of my head, I could tell you this group, that group, this one. This is exactly why.
Tons of them.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's why this person left the group and this person left and
this person didn't make it.
These other
commercially, even though he had the best voice.
And sometimes, your bet can be wrong. You can even think this is the star of this group,
and if he goes solo,
and then they go solo, and there's one other guy that nobody's looking at that becomes the
exactly.
You understand? And we've seen a number of that. So I think it just got to a point where really it became more cumbersome for management, for record labels to manage a group.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, I know of groups that it's time for performance or rehearsal or recording or whatever. One guy just can't get up.
Wouldn't show up.
He's just
slipping
not
off.
So disciplined.
Yes.
Exactly. And the other two are, so it causes a lot of risks, and then people start looking and say, man, guy, like I go do my thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
And somebody will give you a thumbs up that, oh boy, go. You make it. Come on.
Yeah, with all pleasure. I mean, and I probably will be one of those people that would say, guy, I beg.
And you just buttressed my point about me saying that times have changed.
Times have changed.
You understand? So
because now the producer can give you a beat that already includes the guitar, the drums, whatever.
Kind of bass line that
Why is the keyboardist?
Why your vocal?
Why is the keyboardist only to run some
part of the group? When
so let's pay for his job.
One guy can just knock the whole thing for me, So
I remember Timaya talking about when he wanted to do a remix of his song. That song he did with Don Jazzy.
Okay.
I've forgotten the title of the song right now.
Yes.
And he said he sent the song to Don Jazzy tonight. And by the following morning, before he woke up,
he recorded his voice.
The thing was ready.
See, let me tell you.
Jazzy has finished production and sent it back to him.
I've recorded how many albums? I must have recorded songs. I must have recorded songs with at least, put together, I must have done recordings with at least 300 artists.
Wow.
And I haven't been in the studio with 300 artists. Because sometimes it's just, this is what we've done. I send it to you. record
Put
your
your own,
verse and
put
send
your own
back,
verse.
or some ways like that. You understand what I'm saying? So in terms of those kind of things, it's the stage we are in the world right now. It's simple.
Right.
People have done collaboration across countries, across continents, people that I've never met. A lot of the collaborations that are big that you know of, trust me, a lot of the artists have not been
They've
in the
not-
studio together.
They might not even have seen each
They've
other
not-
before.
Some of them have not met.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's where the world is right now, and then you make the best of
But
it.
the videos, you gotta be together.
But I mean, even with the video.
Well, talking about the video,
even with the video,
talking about the
you don't
video,
have to be together.
talking about the video,
And I feel like I can't think of them now, but I know a lot of videos that I know that look, this guy and this guy were not in the same space.
yeah,
Is who's shooting and who's editing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You can merge whatever you want to merge, and then you talked about, people that you expect to have collaborated,
Mhm.
that haven't. So sometimes I don't think it's a must that you must record with this person. Although I think fans always expect it. So a clear example would be maybe Wizkid and Davido, for instance. You understand what I'm saying? But it's going to happen when the time is right.
Me and Tiwa.
Tiwa
you know.
Savage.
Or maybe, but I think with the female, especially with Nigerian artists,
Because you were able to put chemistry, Kel, Bookie,
I mean, I don't have problem putting, because that's my own project.
yes.
Right.
Sometimes you might not even know who else is going to be on the same song that you're on. So that's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
So it's a Jimmy Jatt release.
So behind the scenes,
So
a lot of behind the scenes
I've
happen.
called you and say, I'm working on this song. This is what the song
I didn't
is
even
about.
know who was involved.
I want you to, get a verse on it.
Right.
I'm not telling you that I'm going to Xmas to get another
Correct.
verse. And then when I'm done with it,
You know, see the final.
I'll just present. I don't put it out without letting you, know that, okay, this is what the
what's
song
going on.
became. Okay, it was you and this person. You want to listen to it.
That's a
before
good.
it goes
That
out.
is that is
Do you
a good
understand what I'm saying?
strategy.
So that's different. But Xmas might not be somebody that wants to work with you.
And by the time you mention my name, you'll be like, ugh.
No. By the time I mention, Xmas wants to work with me. So Xmas works with me.
Yeah.
You don't mind working with me. You work with me.
Yeah, you bring
But the
everybody
two
together.
of you might not. So I'm just the bridge in that my own project.
That makes a lot of sense.
But
yes.
you might not get Xmas on your own record.
Right.
And Xmas might not get you on his own record. You understand
But
what
we're
I'm
able to
saying?
get ourselves on your record.
I have a lot of people that I know they don't get along. But once I tell them, this is my own project. It's not for this person. It's not for this person. They don't mind coming, and they don't have to be in the studio at the same time.
Yeah.
Like the one you're talking about, all four of them were not in the studio at the same time.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? There's different session for everyone. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That was a huge one that time.
It's possible. I mean, I think
So-
this time,
Mhm.
if I really want to get a collaboration with maybe, like you said, like Yemi Alade and Tiwa Savage, I can get it.
Mhm.
But that would be a Jimmy Jatt release featuring Tiwa Savage and Yemi
The
Alade.
Jimmy Jatt project.
So it might not be Yemi Alade featuring Tiwa Savage
Yeah.
or Tiwa Savage featuring
But
Yemi Alade. And
Jimmy
I don't want to
Jatt-
talk about that
Yeah.
because I don't know what exists between them.
Right.
But I think a lot of people expect that
Expect
collaboration,
that.
but it's not happening.
All right.
For some strange reason, a lot of females are not working together in Nigeria. I don't know why, but that one's
It's
a
a
girl
female
talk. So-
Okay. So just before we go, this is final question. You just said you've worked with over 300 artists in
Yeah.
Nigeria, right? So
Maybe more.
in a nutshell, what are your experience, good or bad?
Great. Let me see who I had a nasty experience with. Maybe the ones that I wanted to work with but were not forthcoming,
Okay.
but not the people that I eventually got to work with. I've never had a bad experience working with
Okay.
any artist. I think it's
Okay,
just mutual
great.
respect.
Okay.
Yeah. If you
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So on that note, we're going to be rounding it out on 360 Africa this week. This is brought to you by Afro Vibes TV and radio station. And from me, Chris Sedeni, better known as DJ X to the Max. I'll see you guys next week. I'm from Jimmy.
See you guys next week.
And from me, I see you at the next one on 360 Africa.
Peace.
Bye for now.